So there's a massive shift happening in business right now that most founders haven't caught on to yet. And this shift is changing the way that founders scale their business. And the companies that are winning, I mean truly dominating, they aren't scaling by adding headcount anymore. They're scaling by doing the exact opposite. And as a boots on the ground professional recruiter for the last 10 years, I can confidently tell you the era of hiring more people to grow your business is officially over. And what's replacing it is faster, leaner, and more powerful than anything this market has ever seen. Now, what if I told you that the most competitive companies being built right now aren't hiring 50, 100 plus people? They're hiring 5. And those 5 are producing more output, more revenue, and more innovation than teams 10 times their size. I know, that sounds insane, but by the end of this video, you'll see exactly why this works, and you might not ever look at your org chart the same way ever again. But first, if you're new to this channel, I want to say welcome. My name is Jared Black. I'm the founder of a Newvine Employment Group. And over the last decade, I have successfully placed more than 10,000 candidates across hundreds of businesses. And here on this channel, I share actionable recruiting strategies that help business leaders just like you attract and hire top talent without the guesswork, without the costly mistakes, and without the years of trial and error. Now, if that sounds like something valuable and can definitely help you in your business, go ahead and hit subscribe and drop a like on this video. So let's jump right in. All right, so here's what scaling used to look like. First, you hit a growth wall. Maybe revenue was stuck, operations were slow. So what did you do? You hired more people. You post a job, you brought on 3, 5, 10, 20 people, whatever was needed. And for a while, output went up. But then something happened. You needed more managers to manage all the new people, more meetings to keep now everyone aligned, more tools to track who's doing what, more overhead, more benefits costs, more performance reviews that nobody essentially read anyway. And somewhere along the line, you went from running a business to now babysitting people. Teams got bloated, speed got slower, and profitability dropped. And the people who were actually driving the company forward, your top 2, 3, 4 people, they started drowning in the noise of the people all around them. And here's what nobody wants to say out loud. Within most companies, 80% of the most meaningful work and the most meaningful output comes from the top 20% of the people anyway. The rest of the team is either supporting, learning, coasting, and this is the hard part, or just possibly just taking up space. Now, I've seen this across hundreds of companies. To be honest, this is simply just Pareto's law at work. And for a long time, there was no alternative. You needed bodies because there was no other way to do the work, but that's no longer true. So something actually clicked for me about 2 years ago when I restructured my team from fully in person to fully remote. I started noticing very similar patterns among all the companies that were winning. And no, they were not the biggest companies, but they were the fastest. I then became obsessed with the concept of profit per employee, because during this time, I noticed that many of the highly successful companies that we were working with, they weren't hiring more. They were approaching hiring differently. They approached hiring fewer people, but higher bar. And then they were wrapping every single one of those people with AI. Not AI as a gimmick, not we have a ChatGPT subscription. I mean, AI as an infrastructure embedded into daily work so deeply that one person can do what used to take a full team of people to do. So think about what that actually looks like for a second. A single operations manager with the right AI tools can now manage a supply chain that used to require a team of 6. One sales manager with AI-powered prospecting, sequencing, and analytics can outproduce a bullpen of 10 plus reps making cold calls. And one recruiter, and I'm speaking from personal experience on this one, with AI sourcing, pipeline automation, and data-driven personalization can deliver what used to take an entire agency floor. You see, the bottleneck was never talent, it was leverage, and AI is leverage. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because AI isn't just a magic wand that you can just wave around, and you can't give AI to a B player and expect A player results. What you get with that is just faster road to mediocrity, meaning more mistakes at a faster or higher rate of speed and bigger messes while just spending money on AI credits. AI will simply amplify what's already there. And that's the key insight that most companies just miss or just ignore. They hear AI and they think that they can just hire cheaper, hire lower, hire less carefully because the technology will make up the difference. It won't, it never does. It's the same principle as giving someone a race car. You put an elite driver behind the wheel and they're gonna win more races. But the opposite is also true if you took someone who's barely passed a driving test, put them in that race car, they're going to crash faster and more spectacular than they would in a normal car. You see, the companies that are winning right now aren't giving AI to average employees and just hoping for the best. They're finding the absolute best people, A players with ownership mentality, adaptability, and real problem-solving ability, and then multiplying them with AI. Now, that combination is what I call the new competitive advantage. It's not headcount, it's leverage. And now this is where it gets hard, because finding those people, real A players, not just people who interview well, it requires a methodology. You can no longer rely on just gut feelings or job postings. You need an actual system for evaluating whether somebody has the X factor, the skills, the values, the personality, and the growth potential to be that person that you build your company around. Now, I actually did a full video breaking down those exact 5 traits. If you haven't seen it, I'll go ahead and I'll link it right here. So just be sure to go watch it right after this one. Now, let me show you what this actually looks like when it's built, because this isn't hypothetical. The top performing companies that I work with are already doing this. So instead of employees, they have what we call operators. And there is a huge difference between the two. An employee waits for direction. An operator owns a function. An employee asks, what should I do next? An operator asks, what problem needs solving and how do I fix it? An employee simply fills a role. An operator runs a piece of the business like it's their own. Now, imagine a company where every single person thinks and operates like that. 5 people, 8 people, maybe 12 people, each one running their own domain, which is sales, ops, marketing, product, finance, full ownership, full accountability, and an AI stack that gives them the horsepower of a 50-person team. So your competitor is managing a 50-person team with 40 of them in various stages of just not caring. You're running a company with 8 operators who are all in all the time. Your overhead becomes a fraction of theirs and your speed is 10x. Not to mention your decision making is instant because there are no unnecessary layers between you and them. And lastly, every single person on the team was selected with surgical precision because you just can't afford to waste a seat with that type of setup. Now, that's not some startup fantasy. That's the operating model of the future. And the founders who are building it right now, in my opinion, are the ones who will own the next decade. Now, for me, here's the principle that makes the whole thing work. When you only have 8 seats, every seat is sacred. You don't settle. You don't hire out of desperation. You don't fill a role just to check a box. Every single hiring decision becomes the most important decision that you make, because one wrong person in a team of 8 doesn't just underperform. They break the machine. So if you want to model your business this way, I've gone ahead and broken down this process into 4 core principles to follow. Let's start with principle number 1. You want to raise the bar until it hurts. So the first thing that changes is going to be your hiring standard. In the headcount model, you hire to fill seats. In the operator model, you hire to add force. That means that the bar goes up dramatically. So stop hiring for what the role needs today and start hiring for what the role will need in 18 months when that person has achieved mastery of the role. And then they start to improve on it. So in other words, stop hiring people who can just do the job and start hiring people who will redefine the job. So a good test right now is if you're not uncomfortable with how high your standard is, it's not high enough. You need to raise it. Because in a team of 8, there is no room for good enough. There's only room for they make everyone around them better. On to principle number 2, arm every seat with AI. So what I mean by that is every person on your team should have an AI toolkit that makes them dangerous. This is not optional, we'll get to it. You need to map every role to the AI tools that multiply their output. Your sales operator should have an AI sourcing, AI sequencing, and AI analytics tool. Your operations lead should have AI forecasting, AI logistics, AI reporting. Your recruiters should have AI pipeline building, AI candidate matching, and AI outreach. The goal isn't to replace the people with AI. It's to make every person so amplified that your competitors, they need 5 to 10 people just to match what your one person can do. That's the leverage play. And when your competitors are still debating whether to adopt AI, your team has already been running on it for 6+ months, and the gap has gotten so wide it's uncatchable. Principle number 3, I want you to kill the org chart and I want you to build an ownership map. That's right. With this model, throw away the traditional org chart. Titles, hierarchies, reporting lines, they were designed for huge companies, 200 to 1,000 people who needed structure just to function. If you're trying to scale this model, you don't need huge infrastructure. You just need clarity. So replace the org chart with an ownership map, meaning every person owns a domain. They own the outcomes, they own the decisions, they own the problems. No manager standing between them and the work. No committees approving their ideas, they just run with it. Now, the founder's job isn't to manage these people. It's to recruit them, align them, and then get out of their way. So just to recap, your job is to set the vision, remove the obstacles, and their job is to execute like owners. And lastly, principle number 4, treat hiring like the highest stakes decision in your company. And really, this is the piece that ties everything together. If you're building a company of 8 operators instead of 50 employees, Your hiring process is no longer an HR function. It's your strategic weapon. You can't afford a bad hire, not because of the cost, although the cost is real, but because one wrong person in a team of 8 just doesn't underperform. They destabilize the entire model. They disrupt the speed, the trust, the culture, everything. So one seat feels wrong and the machine starts to stall. So that means that hiring has to be the most methodical, most rigorous, most intentional process within your company. That's not a job posting. That's not a gut feeling. That's not like one meeting and I hired this person. You need a system, one that evaluates the whole person, not just their resume. Now, this is exactly what we built our company to do. We don't just fill seats, we find operators, people who will run a piece of your business like it's their own, and they're evaluated against a real methodology, not hunches or gut feelings. That's a fundamentally different service than what most recruiters offer. And really, it's the only one that works for this type of model. Now, if this is landing for you, here's what I want you to walk away with. The companies that win the next decade, they won't be the ones with the biggest teams. They will be the ones with the teams that achieve the most leverage and produce the highest profit per employee. So while your competitor is managing a 50-person team, running meetings about meetings and filling out performance reviews that nobody reviews, wondering why half the team just seems completely checked out to begin with, you're gonna be operating a team of 8 to 12 people who are all in, all armed, and all dangerous. Now, that's not downsizing. That's not cutting corners. That's building a company that's designed for how the world actually works now and going forward, where AI handles the volume and humans handle the judgment, the creativity, and the decisions that machines just can't make. So I'm here to tell you that the headcount era is officially over, and the leverage era has just begun. And the founders who see it first will build the companies that everyone else winds up chasing for the next 10 or 20 years. So if you're building that kind of company and you need the operators to make it work, that's exactly what we do. We find people who don't just fill a role, but they own a function. In other words, we deliver people that you can actually build a company around. Now, if you want to see what that looks like for your company, just go ahead and book a discovery call with me and my team, and you can find that in the description box below. But before you go, here's what I want you to do. Look at your team right now and ask yourself honestly, if you can only keep 3 people and build around those 3 using AI, who are they? Now, you can't name them instantly. That tells you something about the team that you've built. And it also tells you exactly where you should be starting. So comment below, what's your current team size and what's your profit per employee? I want to hear all about it. I read every comment, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are saying. And if this has changed the way you're thinking about building a company, just be sure to share it with a founder who also needs to hear it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.